evacuated, homes destroyed as blazes rage across Victoria. Oh Holy Night, Australia's Christian faithful celebrate the birth of Jesus. From church services to surfing Santas, capturing the spirit of the season. Also tonight, Marsh out, Kawaja in. Selectors make a tough Boxing Day call. Good evening, Nicole Chettle with this national edition of ABC News. The blistering Christmas Day weather along the nation's south has sparked bushfires in 2 tourist towns in Victoria. 4 homes have already been destroyed and dozens more are expected to be lost. Residents in the Wye River area were evacuated, as was Lorne, as the blaze raced towards the Great Ocean Road holiday spots. In addition, a bushfire emergency was declared at Sunbury to the north of Melbourne. Jackie Peake reports.
Plumes of smoke billow towards the Great Ocean Road. The fire moved quickly during the morning and is thought to have taken several homes in the Separation Creek area south of Lorne.
Separation Creek is empty and the fire is moving into Separation Creek and is burning houses. So it's a very serious situation.
Yesterday, firefighters hoped they had the upper hand on this blaze burning in difficult terrain. But strong northerlies spread the fire across 1,500 hectares, pushing it towards popular holiday towns.
It's been a very draining situation, and sorry if I'm breaking down a little bit.
Here in Apollo Bay, an evacuation centre has been set up by the local shire. It's been taking hundreds of residents and visitors through since this morning as fires bear down on the communities of Kennet River, Wye River and Separation Creek. Evacuation alerts have been issued for those communities. People have been coming here for something to drink, something to eat, but also it's likely many of them will need to spend the night.
We've got about 100 people here. The towns that are potentially affected can have as many as 5,000 people in them, and we'll just have to ramp up the situation depending on what happens.
Residents are worried about the homes they've left behind.
You get a good wind and it's the ember attack down on the town that everyone worries about, so everyone's always concerned about a fire.
Fire crews were also battling a blaze on the suburban fringe at Sunbury. An emergency warning was issued earlier in the day, but has since been downgraded to a watch and act, and residents are being warned to remain alert. For people on the Great Ocean Road, though, the change of weather can't come soon enough, with a southerly change expected to bring with it some much-needed rain tonight. Jackie Peake, ABC News, Apollo Bay.
Across the nation, Christians celebrated Christmas, attending church services and spending time with family and friends. Many embraced the hot weather and ventured outdoors, while others lent a hand to bring Christmas cheer to those less fortunate. And of course, this Christmas morning was a time to discover who's been naughty and who's been nice. Sarah Farnsworth reports.
The joy of Christmas was experienced in many homes across Australia this morning.
New shoes, Mummy!
But for many, Christmas started with midnight mass services across the country, under a full moon for the first time in 38 years. It wasn't the only light shining down. Sydney's St Mary's Cathedral offered its congregation a colourful start to the service. Christmas Day services offered time to reflect on what's happened and what's important.
Terrible year.
Oh yes, yeah. Let's hope next year will be better for everybody.
At Melbourne's St Paul's Cathedral, Archbishop Philip Fryer called on the congregation to embrace hope in a time of fear.
The reaching into our own community by those who seek to wreak terror in our hearts, it is significant that our nation has stepped forward to give at least some of the displaced in the war in Syria a new home and life in Australia.
Treating people as equals, that's a big challenge for all of us.
While there were moments of reflection, Merry Christmas! There was also time for celebration. Santa arrived at Brisbane's Lady Cilento Children's Hospital to bring Christmas cheer to places where smiles are rare.
I'll come all the way from the North Pole to give you a present.
Before making his way to hospitals across the country.
She's just been a little bit down and seeing Santa has made her day.
It's not clear if Santa himself takes returns. At Sydney's Wayside Chapel, this choir found itself with a new, rather high-profile member.
How about a hand for our choir?
At Australia's largest Christmas Day charity event in Perth, the food kept coming. Generosity and charity were also on display in Melbourne, with familiar political faces alongside sporting greats, helping those doing it tough.
Everyone's happy, so they've got smiles on their faces. They just want bread and sauce, and I'm the bread and sauce man.
The opposition leader's thoughts were not just with those less fortunate, but others separated from their families for different reasons.
I'd like Australians to think about the men and women of our defence forces who are serving us overseas.
Others went al fresco, finding relief from Adelaide's 38-degree day anywhere they could. At Bondi Beach, sledges were swapped for surfboards for a quintessential Australian Christmas. Sarah Farnsworth, ABC News.
Overseas, the Pope used midnight mass to urge Christians to avoid being captivated by material possessions. In a year where the world is on high alert for terrorist attacks, there was tight security for this service and other celebrations around the world. David Spicer reports.
The 79-year-old leader of the world's Catholics led the pageantry in St Peter's Basilica. He urged those intoxicated by consumerism to infuse their spirit with the example of baby Jesus, born in a manger.
From now on, the way of authentic liberation and redemption is open to every man and woman who is simple of heart.
The spate of terror attacks in Europe prompted tight security. In Syria, Christians braved the civil war to mark the festival in Damascus. The celebrations took place just a few kilometres from a battlefront. In the Holy Land, the lights glowed in Bethlehem. But recent violence deterred tourists. Occupancy rates were half of what they were last year. But in other parts of the world, more light-hearted celebrations. One of the quirkiest traditions takes place in Mexico, where sculptures are made from radishes. Locals have been peeling and cutting these works of art for more than a century. David Spicer, ABC News.
Political and military leaders have sent their best wishes to the hundreds of Defence Force personnel serving away from home this Christmas. For them, it's a regular working day with just a brief chance to get into the festive spirit. Here's the ABC's Defence reporter, Andrew Green.
In the Middle East, the Christmas goodies have arrived just in time.
It's always a very happy event when you receive something in the mail. You don't expect anything, it's just a normal day at work, and then suddenly a box arrives or a letter, and the whole day gets better.
This Christmas, around 2,200 ADF members are serving away from home and loved ones.
I miss my family, I miss my friends, I miss my nan, but most of all I miss my brand new husband.
Have a very Merry Christmas.
Can't wait to see you all in the new year.
I love you, I'll be home soon. Thank you, Australia.
And in this Anzac centenary year, that spirit of Gallipoli is being reflected in official Christmas messages from the Prime Minister.
That the best way to honour the diggers of 1915 is to support the servicemen and women, the veterans and the families of 2015.
And the boss.
Thank you for your hard work throughout 2015. You've done the Anzacs proud.
Merry Christmas, Australia.
Merry Christmas!
Andrew Green, ABC News.
It was meant to be a relaxing Christmas morning fishing trip, but it took a dramatic twist when a boat capsized off the New South Wales south coast. The 5 fishermen activated an emergency beacon at about 8:30 when they got into trouble near Durras. They spent hours at sea, sitting on top of the upturned boat before they were found. One by one, the men were winched to safety by a rescue helicopter. This holiday season, spare a thought for those still on the job, while most of us spend time with family and friends. The ABC's Stephanie Dalzell spent the day with some of the people working hard so that we don't have to.
Come in, darling. Darling, how are you, Oreo?
In Sydney's inner west, aged care workers spread Christmas cheer.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Worker Tess Morales is here on her day off to spend the day with the people she considers family.
What about Christmas? This is the highlight of all activities, of everything that we're doing here, to be with them on Christmas Day. We are just like one big family now.
For most of the residents, it's a priceless gift.
It means an awful lot. It really does. But they love their jobs, they love what they do, and they love us too.
Now let's take a look at the weather. Thick cloud across the tropical north with the monsoon trough and a tropical low is producing heavy rain, strong winds and thunderstorms. There's cloud over WA and South Australia as well as southern Queensland. The monsoon trough and tropical low is generating heavy rain, strong winds and thunderstorms over northern Australia. A trough and front is also producing widespread thundery showers over WA, the top end and South Australia, pushing hot air into South Australia and Victoria ahead of it. In the capital cities, a possible shower for Brisbane, showers and a possible storm for Sydney and Canberra, rain easing in Melbourne, mostly sunny in Hobart, clear skies in Adelaide, sunny in Perth and rain for Darwin. And that's ABC News for this Christmas Day. From all of us here, Merry Christmas.